I'm Dr. Bharat Desai. Today, we continue with our series on age related osteoporosis, what I have called the overhyped epidemic. In the last episode, I challenged two fundamental myths. First, I showed that fractures are not actually rising at epidemic rates. Yet, if there is no true epidemic, why does it feel like there is one? Why do you see friends, neighbors, family members, especially women, breaking bones far too easily? Second, I challenge the notion that bone density, the T score on a DEXA scan, is the best predictor of bone strength. So, to answer to both questions boils down to bone quality. You see, age related thinning of the bones is not the primary reason people are breaking bones. The real reason we see people fracturing bones more lately is deterioration in the quality of the bones. Bone density is simply a measure of amount of minerals like calcium and phosphorus in a bone. That's it. It's measure of quantity, how thick the bone is, not how tough or how strong it is. Bone quality, however, is about the material properties and the architecture of the bone. It's about how tough the bone is, not how thick it is. And to understand bone quality, it is important to know how the body creates strong bones in the first place. So let me take you to San Francisco to the world famous Golden Gate Bridge. Imagine you stranded at the center of the Golden Gate during a monster storm. The wind is howling at 80 miles per hour, and the deck sways violently beneath you. You close your eyes and wait for the steel cables to snap and drop you into the freezing San Francisco Bay. The storm clears. You open your eyes. You are still there, and so is the bridge. You didn't survive because of your good luck or good karma. You survived because of a marvelous piece of engineering that is Golden Gate. It's a masterpiece of design. In 1987, for his 50th anniversary, 800,000 people packed onto its deck. Under that staggering weight, the center of the bridge groaned and dropped 7 feet. People were paralyzed with fear, certain the end had come. But the bridge didn't break. Why? Because it was deliberately designed for elasticity. It can sway 27.7 feet sideways and 16.6 feet vertically at its center without breaking. Look at this animation. The bridge is swaying like a paper toy, yet it holds. This flexibility is the greatest strength of that bridge. If it were a thick, rigid structure, it would have crashed into the bay decades ago. So you're probably wondering why I'm talking about Golden Gate Bridge when the topic is bones. Because your skeleton is a network of millions of living suspension bridges. Think about how a bridge stays safe. It requires a coordinated team constantly inspecting and repairing stressed sections before they fail. Your body does the exact same thing through a high precision process called targeted engineering or targeted remodeling. Your body employs a meticulous system to identify specific weak points and micro cracks resulting from daily activities of daily life, repairing them before they lead to catastrophic failure. This constant invisible construction, which is going 24/7, is exactly what keeps your bone from breaking, becoming brittle. Without this maintenance, the bridge and your skeleton will snap. So let's examine the actors in this high stakes biological drama. It's beautiful. So, who is the master regulator, the commander in chief of this process? And it's a mechanical stress, the mechanical load. Every step you take, every weight you lift creates tiny deformities. It's called microscopic strains and cracks in the bone. To your body, these are not just the damage, they are work orders. Without this mechanical stress, the repair process never even starts. Remember that. Your body is a master of efficiency. It refuses to waste precious energy maintaining a structure that is not being used. It looks at a sedentary skeleton and correctly rationalizes, if we are not stressing these bones, why should I bother making them strong? Second, the sensor signal. So, embedded deep within the bone matrix, osteocytes, which are the sensors, when they detect this strain and micro damage with their antenna, they send distress signals to initiate repair exactly where it's needed. So first comes demolition crew, the osteoclasts. Following the signal, osteoclasts arrived to dissolve old or damaged bone. And as they dissolve this bone, they release growth factors trapped inside the bone matrix. Think of this as a chemical flares signals. And that brings in construction crew, the osteoblast. So as osteoclasts dissolve the bone, chemical flares are given, then the builder decides, here I am going to land and start my repair. Exactly that spot. So no demolition, no flares, and no flares, no repairs. And the builder's first job is to lay down collagen matrix, which is like a rich in protein like proline and glycine. Think of this as a soft structural rebar. Only after this flexible bridge is built can it be hardened through mineralization, where your calcium and phosphorus pour in like concrete to turn these soft rebars into rock solid bone. Now, other important thing is we call it coupling. What does it mean? Coupling is very crucial. If mechanical stress is the master commander, then coupling is the central nervous system of the bone repair and bone health. This is the most misunderstood part of the entire process, even by many physicians. In a healthy skeleton, the demolition and construction crews, the osteoclast and osteoblast, are as perfectly synchronized as Olympic swimmers. You cannot have one without the other. In the world of technology, we call it a digital handshake, a mandatory protocol where two systems must verify each other before they can start communicating. All right. So the next process is hardening minerals. So once the collagen matrix, the soft bridges, soft rebars are laid, it must be mineralized. So calcium and phosphorus from the blood precipitate out into the bone and harden the structure. And this is managed by vitamin D, vitamin K2, and parathyroid hormone, and few other stress minerals. Now let's look at how this process becomes derailed. Why people get thinning of the bones, or forget about thinning, weak bones, I would call it, because that is more important, more precise definition. So the first is, if you don't use it, you lose it. As simple as that. And as I said, master commander is your mechanical stress. So when you remove the load through disuse, you are causing a total breakdown in remodeling. The second, sensor signals. What causes that? So chronic stress, high cortisol level, smoking, alcohol, or poor metabolic health. Remember, poor metabolic health is crucial. They all cause premature osteocyte death, which silences the bone's repair network. Trauma, injury, and high-dose corticosteroids also cause bone death, osteonecrosis, by blocking blood supply to the bone. Bisphosphonates, like your Fosamax, Reclass, Baniva, those osteoporosis drugs, chemically bind to bone minerals and interfere with this antenna of the osteocyte, the signal. So the signals are weakened. Okay. Now, what damages the osteoclasts? The demolition crew. So the estrogen and testosterone, male and female hormones deficiency, removes the natural brakes on this osteoclast, the demolition crew. So when you are low in estrogen or testosterone, you're going to have more bone loss. Menopause can cause it, but also drugs like Arimidex, which is used for breast cancer, that block estrogen, and Lupron for prostate cancer, that blocks testosterone. Then chronic inflammation, again metabolic health, that releases cytokines that act as a false alarm. So tricking osteoclast into breaking down healthy bone. Stopping Prolia, osteoporosis drug, abruptly causes a rebound surge of this new osteoclast, leading to catastrophic demolition spree. Metabolic acidosis, when there's too much acid in the blood, forces the body to use bone calcium as a buffer to neutralize acid. So it's a defensive mechanism when body is thinning out your bones. Now, what damages the builders? The osteoblasts. Diabetes and hyperglycemia causes advanced glycation end products. This caramelizes that collagen, that protein bars, rebars, and they become sticky and brittle. So builders, osteoblasts cannot attach to the sticky collagen, so they cannot lay new fibers. Diabetes drug, pioglitazone, force stem cells, your original stem cell, to become fat cells instead of builders. So you lose that. Vitamin C deficiency prevents synthesis of that collagen scaffold. In multiple myeloma and other cancers, they kill osteoblast, leaving holes in the bones. Now, next is coupling breakdown. What breaks down the coupling, right? So either if you damage one and not the other, they both will be, if you damage one, both will be affected, right? So this uncoupling, breakdown of communication between osteoclast and osteoblast, demolition crew and construction crew is a problem. In the long-term bisphosphonate, those drugs, Fosamax, Reclast and all those, they kill osteoclast completely. That signal to initiate the rebuilding is never sent. So leaving those microcracks unrepaired. Prolia, another osteoporosis drugs, prevents the demolition crew from being recruited. So which eventually silences the construction crew and turns the bones into a ghost town. No repair, no removal, and no new bone. In hormonal deficiency, estrogen and testosterone, as we talked about, testosterone, Demolition crew dig so deeply that they destroy the trabecula, the floor. So the builders have no place to put the foundation. And the last is mineralization. What goes wrong there? And there you have your deficiency, vitamin D, K2 deficiency, which is very, very common. It prevents calcium from being absorbed or anchored to the bone, resulting in a soft bone. Deficiency in magnesium or zinc deprive the body of raw materials needed for that crystal, hydroxyapatite crystal. That's the mineralization. Vitamin C deficiency also results in limp, weak collagen rebar, so they cannot be hardened. And then there is a heavy metals poisoning like lead, cadmium, or aluminum. They can mimic calcium and build a toxic bridge that is structurally hollow. Phosphorus toxicity is quite common because of high phosphorus level in ultra processed foods, and sodas and processed meats are dangerous. So the body must neutralize this phosphorus with calcium. So when phosphorus is high, the body mines calcium from the bones by breaking it down so that it neutralizes the phosphorus. Antacids and PPI, omeprazole, they also neutralize stomach acid, which is required to ionize and absorb minerals, causing deficiencies. Chronic kidney disease and hyperparathyroidism, elevated parathyroid gland, increased activity, that creates metabolic dysfunction that leaches calcium from the bone to balance the blood. And lastly, alcohol is a triple threat toxin. It poisons your builders, kills your site managers, and causes your kidney to flush your concrete minerals down the toilet. So this is the summary of the bad actors that can wreck your bone health. Look at the slide. In our next video, we will examine how best to fix each of them and how to make your bones stronger and tougher, not thicker and brittle. And that will reduce the risk of fragility fractures, which you are all concerned about. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon. And please leave a comment with your suggestions or questions. Until next time, stay curious and stay healthy.